Teachers' unions say they have the solution now to all of the problems kids face because of the pandemic. It's very simple. Just give them more money and more control of your kids' education, and they will fix the very problems that they created during the pandemic. You flunked the pandemic, Randy, and set America's children back years, wrote the Wall Street Journal. And new numbers show kids' reading and math skills plummeted during the pandemic. Results were even worse for lower income and minority students. Math scores fell by 13 points for black students, 8 points for Hispanics compared to 5 points for whites. Reading scores for low income students fell twice as much as for others. Randy Weingarten runs the American Federation of Teachers and refuses any interview requests, including ours, about her demands that schools continue to lock down, even in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. She will simply not say that she was wrong. We say when we're wrong here. We also like to be fair, so even though she won't talk to us, we'll give you her side. She wrote in a Wall Street Journal letter to the editor, "Teachers deserve our ear and our help, not shame and blame." And she's right. The unions that protect bad teachers and their leaders deserve shame and blame, otherwise known as people like Randy. Why do I bring this up? Well, it's going to be a huge issue this November. Just how much power Randy and her friends should have is on the ballot. For example, in Florida, where the candidate for lieutenant governor is Carla Hernandez-Matz. She is the president of the United Teachers of Dade, the largest student union in the southeastern United States. Democratic nominee Charlie Crist picked her to be his running mate. In other words, he thinks teachers' unions sell. Jason Nichols is here, professor at the University of Maryland, and joins us now. I would have thought every Democrat would learn from especially what happened in Virginia, that the teachers' unions are liabilities for Democrats.
So I'm not certain that that's the case. I think it's definitely true that closing schools was the wrong move in hindsight. The American Academy of Pediatrics warned of its dire consequences. I have I have 3 children, but 2 of them who are school age. So I understand how bad this turned out. But the truth is there are a couple of things that complicate this. And the first thing is that the last administration said they wanted schools open, but didn't put safety measures in place. And we have to also understand that there was so much unknown about the pandemic, particularly in the early days. You got to remember, this same administration was telling us if we take hydroxychloroquine.
Okay, but hold on. Those are very different things. But you're right. There were a lot of unknowns at the time, and there was a lot of people who were terrified of this. We didn't know its effects on kids. Certainly pretty quickly we understood that locking down schools didn't make a lot of sense, but people like Weingarten continued demanding it. They doubled down on it, on and on and on. Here's her at the Education Secretary Town Hall. Take a listen.
People would want to be teachers if they knew they'd be respected. Very few teachers thought that they were going into teaching to be social justice warriors.
We can argue that point either way, but more importantly, you just made this point. The data is in. Locking down schools was wrong. It didn't work. In fact, Florida, there was less community spread because kids were at school rather than in homes, on and on and on and on. Why is it so hard for these people to say, hey, by the way, we were wrong. We tried to protect people's lives. Unfortunately, we were wrong. Let's get back to work together, and we're waiting to hear your thoughts on it. Why double down?
So here's the thing. First of all, I'm glad you mentioned Florida. Florida opened schools, and they still experience learning loss, particularly with 8th graders, and it was in line with the rest of the country. So one of the things that I think we need to recognize is that this traumatic experience of the pandemic also just set children back. So it wasn't necessarily blaming the teachers. And I also think she's right about blaming teachers being a bad move, particularly when we're seeing teacher shortages around the country. Same argument, everybody on the right.
Hold on, let me turn this around. Are we seeing teacher shortages, though, because of this, or because of the unions, or in spite of them, in the sense that there'd be a lot of people who don't want to be get into teaching because they have to join this union that rewards sort of the worst behavior among people, as unions do?
So if you're going to say that, then and you're going to include police unions in that, then I'll hear you.
Fair point.
The right never does that. I think you're a fair-minded person, Leland, but many people on the right, they'll speak up for cop unions who protect bad police, but teachers unions who protect teachers that are trying to give your kid the best education possible, they won't do that. Now, I do think that it is important for us to understand that, yes, there was some evidence, but there's always competing evidence. This was the problem during this pandemic. We were hearing so many voices from so many angles.
If we look forward on this, just the politics of it, aside for a point who was right, who was wrong. You got Charlie Crist saying, I'm putting the president of the Miami-Dade Teachers Union on my ticket as my running mate. Clearly thinking that this is going to drive votes. And then you've got Ron DeSantis, who his backed candidates, Republicans in Miami, won for school board. Which side has this argument right?
I think, from a political standpoint, it remains to be seen. I think teachers, we should be praising teachers. I know this was a difficult time. It was a difficult time. You saw nurses quitting their jobs. We saw teachers quitting their jobs. Nobody, and I think Randy Weingarten, mentioned this, that nobody was excited about virtual learning. You and I have spoken about this personally, that nobody liked it. Nobody was excited about it.
I think a 16 or 17-year-old Leland or Jason would have loved it.
I don't know. I liked at 16 or 17. I liked meeting girls at school.
Fair point. Okay. I keep getting this back to the politics of this, though. Is that how do Democrats deal with an environment where, when Terry McAuliffe said, I don't think parents should have a say in their kids' education, when you've got teachers unions that are unpopular in Florida, we know that because of what happened with the school board elections, and yet there's a part of the progressive wing that continues to pander to them. Why do they have so much power?
Well, I think Terry McAuliffe was just not a good candidate. So I think we need to put that out there. And that was a terrible gaffe that he made, during that election cycle that led to Glenn Youngkin winning that election. You see Glenn Youngkin has kind of backed off of those issues. He hasn't really changed a whole lot. So I think it was more about the rhetoric that was being stated during that time. As far as, Florida and how this is going to work out, I think Charlie Crist is a much better candidate than Terry
McAuliffe. Yeah. You might be right about that.
He's going to be stronger, and nobody really votes based on who the lieutenant governor is. Like, I've never seen that. I can tell you, even in my own state, I probably have to Google who the lieutenant governor's gubernatorial candidates are. So I think people are looking at the top of the ticket.
Right now, Look, DeSantis in the Real Clear Politics average is up somewhere, as you go through the polls, somewhere up between 8 and 21 points. So. There you go. Hey, Jason, it's always good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Leland.
All right, we'll talk soon. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.